Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. The crisis at the border continues to get worse by the day as the Biden administration continues a media blackout at many of the facilities that are housing migrant children. Joining us now is Texas Congressman Ronnie Jackson and the former acting Border Patrol Commissioner Mark Morgan. Gentlemen, great to have you both on this morning. We really appreciate it with everything going on the border. Congressman, I want to start with you, and I want to play a soundbite from Chris Wallace on Sunday to get your reaction. Take a listen.
Would you allowed a camera crew in to see the HHS facilities? What we're talking about here are the Border Patrol facilities, the detention cells, there is a law that let me just finish, that they are not allowed to be there for more than 72 hours. Many of them are there for 10 days. At this point, in terms of allowing access to Border Patrol facilities for reporters, you are being less transparent than the Trump administration.
It surprised me. I was surprised by the question itself. But Congressman, I know you're going to the border again tomorrow. Are you surprised by how poorly the Biden administration is handling this? This has been going on now for more than 6 weeks. President Trump had illegal crossings when he left office at a 45-year low, and that's not that long ago.
Well, Rob, I'm surprised that they've got themselves into this to start with. I mean, this whole process is it's Biden just trying to undo every single thing that Trump did with no regard for the consequences of the American people. I mean, this is not only a healthcare crisis, it's going to be an economic crisis, a national security crisis for our country, but they don't want us in there because they don't want the cameras in there because they don't want the American people to see the horrible conditions that are in there, especially in the setting of us being in a pandemic where we've been practicing social distancing and mask wearing and all these things that we've done to keep our country safe, get our families back to work and back to school. And now we're going to go in there, we're going to see these horrible conditions in there. So it's unbelievable how they just completely, preach transparency, but then they take this approach to the press, seeing what's going on down there. So it doesn't really surprise me, but it worries me.
It depends which analysis you read, but the positivity rate there is now at least at 10%, right around 10%. But some estimates have it a lot higher than that. Mark, I want to play you Jen Psaki's response to that question, to be fair, and then we'll get some reaction. Take a listen.
The Trump administration was turning away kids at the border, sending them back on the treacherous journey, or they were ripping kids from the arms of their parents. We're not doing that. We are committed to allowing cameras into the Border Patrol facilities. Absolutely. I will also say we're committed to solutions. That's why I noted that we reopened or opened 3 facilities that have almost 7,000 beds to allow for processing these kids more quickly out of the Border Patrol facilities.
Mark, you used to run the Border Patrol. There's nobody that knows more about this than you. This whole ripping kids from their parents is lovely imagery, but it was never really reality, was it?
Rob, that's absolutely right. I tell you what, as a former acting commissioner of all of CBP, that's offensive for all 63,000 men and women who dedicate their lives every single day to protecting our borders. What the press secretary said was an absolute lie, and the president echoed it during his press conference. At no time did we return unaccompanied children to the hands of coyotes. At no time did the incredible men and women of CBP return these unaccompanied minors to the shores of the Rio Grande, as the president said, to starve to death. That's absolutely false. At great taxpayers' expense, we provided unparalleled, unmatched humanitarian assistance, food, clothing, medical attention. We coordinated with the host nations that we were sending them back to make sure they were actually reunited with their families. And one last thing, over 75% of the so-called unaccompanied minors are 15, 16, 17 years old. Nobody's being ripped from their parents' arms. These are working age, military age in some countries. They are making the choice themselves to come here to get a job, and they know that that it's going to work because this president has opened the borders.
Congressman Jackson, your friend Texas Senator Ted Cruz was just down there over the weekend. It was everywhere. He brought almost 20 other Republican senators with him. I should say he invited Democrats. Nobody took him up on the offer, but he was basically there doing what I should be doing, what our Newsmax correspondent Logan Raddick is trying to do right there at the border, and that's give the American people an idea of what's going on. But the Biden administration still has a media blackout at all of these facilities. What is he hiding inside these facilities?
Well, we're going to find out. You know, the Texas delegation, we're down here. This is the first of 3 days. We're going to be down here for 3 solid days touring this border, figuring out what's going on. You know, when I was President Trump's chief medical advisor, he sent me to the border multiple times at the beginning of the administration when we were dealing with the Obama-era policies down there as his chief medical advisor, because we had a small issue with measles and things like that. They're crossing the border. Now we're going to have all those same issues. These people are coming across. They have measles, they have TB, and we already know that a large number of them have coronavirus. They may have things as serious as Ebola. We don't know. They're coming across the border. They're not being properly screened. But I asked the question earlier, where's Dr. Fauci? Dr. Fauci is President Trump's chief medical advisor now. He should be down here on the border looking at this issue and addressing the health care issues on the border, but he's not. No one from the Biden administration, for the most part, is down here. The president's not even down here. So they, at this point, don't show that they even care what's going on the border right now, and that's a real concern.
We have a great soundbite from Dr. Fauci from a week ago, but I'm going to play that for you in a minute because I do want to get your reaction. But a quick question for Mark, and then we'll go back to the good doctor. But Mark, in all your years of service and working down at the border, is this the worst you've ever seen it, and is it going to continue to get worse?
Yes and yes. And look, that's not opinion. Let me back up some facts. And first of all, the Congressman and I, we're actually here on the border right now. Last night, we went about 1 in the morning. We went to an area where we were told where hundreds of unaccompanied minors and families are coming across. And we went there, and we were there for over an hour, and we saw a steady stream of families and unaccompanied minors just pouring into our country illegally. And contrary to what the American people are being told, everyone we saw come across last night are going to be released into the interior United States. And what's very, very frustrating is that the mainstream media has a very short memory, Rob. We warned them prior to the election. Any administration that removed the policies like were made in Mexico, the Indian catch and release, the unprecedented cooperative agreements in Northern Triangle countries, and the CDC's Title 42. We said if you remove those, you will create a crisis that will make 2019's crisis pale in comparison. After the election, the Biden transition team, we provided exhaustive briefings, and we warned them again and again. If you did what they have done, we told them the border patrol facilities would be overwhelmed, HHS would be overwhelmed, and the numbers would skyrocket. And let me give you just a couple quick stats. March of last year, 33,000. This March, right now as we stand, they're estimating 150,000. That's a 354% increase. That's not seasonal, Rob. That's a crisis.
It's just the numbers are shocking. We're very tight on time, but Congressman, you are also a doctor. You were the president's physician as well. We call you Congressman now, but I could very easily call you doctor as well. Dr. Fauci has commented on everything related to coronavirus over the last 13 months. He has yet to comment on the crisis that is happening with these super spreader humane migrant facilities. And I say humane in sort of a tongue-in-cheek way because they're anything but. Quickly, your reaction.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. You know, he's out there every day talking about, how important it is that we continue to wear a mask. And, they're out there criticizing the state of Texas because, we got rid of the mask mandate. And simultaneously, they're just infiltrating our Texas border with hundreds of thousands of unscreened immigrants in here. It's so hypocritical, and it's so contrary to what they preach on a regular basis. They want us to stay locked down, but they want our border to be wide open. And those two things do not go together. Yeah. They cannot continue to push these two narratives together.
Congressman Jackson, Mark Morgan, great information. Great having both of you on. Thanks so much for your time, and good luck at the border tomorrow.